Hey guys, this is Jamie. Sorry for the delay in the video. I pretty much got a stomach bug, so I needed to survive in order to do this video. Anyway, without further ado, let's unfortunately talk about the Polymarket. I'll preface this by saying that obviously I'm talking about this because there has been a law, specifically from Portugal, saying that it is making Polymarket illegal. And factually, I do think that all the other countries should follow. And when it comes to obviously betting on political events, this shouldn't be a thing. And on different things, betting in all its sense should be, as I agree with the political law, should be done on horse betting, sports, and other things which can sort of influence or leads to intense insider trading. Because obviously, as we've been seeing with the poly market, we even had one person bets on the fact that Nicolas Maduro would be taken into the US by Donald Trump, and whoever betted ended up with a very hefty sum. So I do have to say that obviously weird, illegal, borderline, shouldn't be doing, but it's being done. Betting has been done throughout history. And recently, funnily enough, I watched a really good movie called, I'm sorry for butchering the name, Dien Bien Phu, which is a French movie specifically about Vietnam and one of the last battles in the first Indochina War. And specifically, there's a very good line in it about an American writer who goes and bets on all these things and how people in Vietnam are betting on what will the outcomes be, how when will the French positions fall, how fast they will fall. And I do understand that people have always betted, but I feel like right now we're in a very sort of weird timeline, weird geopolitical situation, specifically like with Greenland, in general, sort of lots of wars happening, and the fact that I feel like morality is really being thrown out of the window. And I sort of sit on this weird sort of confusion where I feel like I am too tired from sitting and seeing these atrocities, but at the same time, I feel like nothing surprises me anymore. So, like with Polymarket, I feel like I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I want it to stop. Like, I don't want this insider trading. I'm completely against the idea that some people might see how people are more inclined to vote. Like, for instance, with the recent political presidential elections in Portugal, something like God knows how many million euros were moved around because of the betting. People were voting for candidates through there, and political trading can often lead to insider trading, and then people can, for instance, think, okay, this will get me the bets going, this will be more in my odds, and then that will lead to insider trading or people doing decisions based on bets. And obviously, how to put this, insider trading has been obviously seen as bad, to put it very mildly. I feel like we're all losing our humanity, and not just in this age of AI, but in this age of people are trying to bet in any way or in any way to sort of get more money. But if we start sort of stripping our humanity, stripping ourselves into betting on political events which will influence other people, if we start betting on wars, we're just reducing ourselves to nothing, really. And then it goes into the question of, but if you have nothing to lose and you have something to gain, what is stopping you from going ahead with it? I do understand if someone has nothing else to lose and wants to gain, but maybe we shouldn't be living in a world where if someone tips you about Maduro being taken off Venezuela, that's the thing you should be putting your money on. I really just want to believe that we're not gonna fall to that. And the problem is, like, when we sit down here and think, okay, sure, like that one person who got the tip about Maduro and was the only one who bet on that probably was someone who had the money and they placed something like $140,000 to get the bets right. They're not in a desperate situation, but the problem is, so people were betting sort of even small bets to see like if the presidents who would be the next presidents who would go to round two and stuff like that. And people do it. It's not even out of the sport or I don't know the luck factor or the curiosity, but it's because people just want to get some money because people are not managing in this day-to-day life, and in the end, by going to these things like Polymarket, which isn't regulated, and might give you the odds in your favor, we're just feeding this absolutely inhumane machine. Sure, we can judge the people who started this and who find it fun to bet on these people and on these war scenarios. But what about the people who have actually like nothing to eat or are struggling to pay the mortgage? What do we do about them? How do we differentiate? And then even we even fall into philosophical things like, would you judge someone for doing something that they have to do? And all of this is because people just cannot go their day-to-day life. And I'm just going all around in this video, but the problem is that we shouldn't be betting on something outside of betting on horses, you know? And even if, like, for instance, Portugal made it illegal, people can still access Polymarket. People can still bet. People can still use a VPN. So people can still do that and, for instance, feed their families or, I don't know, bet enough money to do a deposit for a Lambo or something. So the problem is we are doing all these, like, yeah, the website is illegal, but is it really legal if people can still access it? It's the same thing as putting a sort of a kitty protector of this website can't be accessed if you're under 18. It's the same thing. Ironically, like it also goes into the facts of sort of the question on everyone's lips, which is what will Trump do about Greenland? Sure, he can't take Greenland, but what if he does? And then what if someone close to Trump, or what if hypothetically even Trump himself goes into polling market and puts a bet that he will take Greenland or he won't take Greenland, and that will influence him on taking Greenland hypothetically, or someone else who can do a decision like that. And this is where we need to be nipping that at the buzz, but unfortunately, no one cares, and the website will still be up. People still will be betting, and because it's available in such a big scope, and there's so much huge money being made there, that it's too big to stop, and no one sort of with the power or no one sort of will be able to stop it in a capacity that will be stopped. So the problem is that right now we're sitting in a situation where nothing can be done. So we're in this absolutely insane piece of shit situation where things like Greenland, things like ice, things like Trump's deportations, Christ's war, genocide in Palestine, like a lot of things are just happening, and it doesn't matter how much I'll be talking about and how much I'll be just listing them off. The problem is that it doesn't matter what happens, there is no consequence to anything. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you just sit here and complain, because even if I were to do something, it's gonna lead to nothing. So yeah, the poly market situation is grim, and I do feel like I'm being cynical, doomer, and a bit avoidant about it. But it is what it is, and hopefully the Portuguese government will manage to ban it. I do know that a few countries have been banning it in different ways, and maybe Portugal will think of something else or more of a stricter ban, and that would be good. Sorry, this was a bit all over the place. Thank you very much for watching. Do not bet on Polymarket, And if you like this video, feel free to leave a like, feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate all the love. And if someone is betting a video on Polymarket, tell them to stop, that they are being gross. Thank you very much.